Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, July 3rd, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I hunker in a little deeper to expand and explore through the feels. This can also be hunkering in a little deeper to rest and restore. It's interesting because this week has felt quiet. It's kind of felt quiet, like the quiet before the storm. And astrologically, Friday has a lot going on. On Friday, we have Neptune going retrograde. We have Venus meeting up with Uranus, and then Venus moving into the sign of Gemini. And there's other things going on. It's also Independence Day. And I was going to say Independence Day, but it's not. Freedom is always a state of mind and something that we carry within us. And the spirit of the country is one of aligning with that independence. So I don't want to do this to that. I want to fully embrace that independence energy. But what I was going to say, it's also our second Evolution Day of Sun in Cancer. A lot of holidays, interestingly, show up on Revolution days, which is something to explore, but another time. For today, we're kind of feeling, like I said, the quiet before the storm. That being said, we have Venus today reaching the final degree of Taurus, and therefore reaching very close to Uranus. But the exact conjunction won't happen until tomorrow. And yet, we'll be feeling it. So, hunker in, explore your feels, and rest and nurture. Now, it's also interesting because we have the moon continuing through the sign of Libra. And the last few days, I feel like everything, I've gotten so many messages from people who don't watch my scopes, interestingly, talking about balance and the need for it or feeling it or some level of it. And then even a podcast that I was watching was talking a lot about the balance between giving and receiving and the me and the we. And so we have some lessons in this today between Venus, which can represent the we, meeting up with Uranus, which is we gotta change things up, and the moon in Libra opposing Chiron in Aries today. We also have one more interesting connection incoming that, again, it's very interesting that it's going to reach its exact point on Friday with all that astro happening, but the build of it, I was looking at the build of it today. So we have the sun in Cancer squaring Ceres in Aries. And Ceres represents mother energy. And when I was looking at the sun in Cancer squaring Ceres in Aries, I was like, oh, that's like a mama bird pushing the baby bird out of the nest. I mean, you have to fly now. It is your chance. This is what has to happen right now. So a lot of really interesting energy. So again, today's kind of a day where we're preparing for a lot of those things. Moon opposite Chiron. So moon in Libra, Chiron in Aries. I think that there's a lot of wounds around us being who we are. And there are those of us who are afraid of allowing our full I am to come out because we are afraid that it will throw our connections with others very off balance. And so you may see some of that, again, between this aspect and that Venus-Uranus conjunction coming up. Part of the lessons of Taurus are the lessons of your value. And that feeds off of the Aries energy. Aries energy is, I am, hear me roar. And then Taurus is here I am and I have value. I have gifts and talents that I came to bring forward into this world. And so you may find where you've held back, toned down, some of those cracks coming to the surface. And causing fissures? Let me say this, though. Interestingly, I feel like with Joe, I have been able to be the most Mimi that I've ever been in my life in a lot of ways. I still have places that I need to crack through. I have a lot of Libra in my chart, so it's a lot of work. But wow, the ease of being yourself and how it feels to release those parts that have been contained is really, really powerful. And so recognize this in this energy. You may not be fully comfortable, hello Cancer energy, you may not be fully comfortable to let it all come out at once, but see where you can expand these energies. See where you can bring awareness even to places like, oh, okay, I was not true to myself there. I abandoned myself there. I didn't feel free to be myself there. And look at those energies as they come up today. And again, continue to try to work on the relationship that you have with yourself. That's part of the lessons of Libra, is beyond relating to others, relationship with yourself. And like I said, that Venus-Uranus energy, whew. Uranus has the breakthrough power, right? And so if there are any breakdowns happening in relationships, some of this might be because it is time to move on, but some of these might lead to beautiful breakthroughs. So watch for where the universe is asking for you to break through. Again, especially in alignment with your personal worth, your personal gifts and talents, and all of that. Now, that Venus-Uranus energy is also working the energy of money out in the world. And I know based on this bill that's floating around, a lot of people are fearful of that. And I want to remind us all that we live in an abundant world, despite people trying to convince you otherwise. So do keep that in mind, because that energy could be a little triggering. Beyond anything, remind yourself of your worth and remind yourself what you find valuable, because that's the foundation that we lean upon as Venus prepares to move into Gemini. That's kind of it. It's like really just preparation for this incoming shift, right? So at the top of the cards, we have transformation in reverse. And what's helping the transformation? It's the awareness card. So again, peeling through these layers. We've got some inner child energies that are showing up in this. And I think a lot of the worth and a lot of the, places where we shut ourselves down, a lot of that can come from our childhood. It can come from our ancestors' patterns as well. And Cancer energy definitely can bring that up. Now, we do have the Patience card in reverse. And this might be, again, some of these astro energies that are simmering under the surface, the bubbles rising up. You may not find yourself being as patient as you want to be. I will share with you, I had a friend call me out on that one time. And I believe that she's absolutely very right. She's like, I think that you are performing patience instead of actually being patient. So that's an interesting one to lean into as well, because I definitely was performing patience and practicing my Libra rather than really learning how to embody patience. So, final card is the Stress card. And this is a card, again, that's reminding you, watch out for the too much. Watch out for where you're overdoing everything and not tending to yourself, and watch out for the... We're going to call it the manic mind. The maniac mind is what I heard. Grounding is important. As Uranus builds to its shift into Gemini, you are going to be very relieved to know how to ground and to know how to settle your nervous system as that energy shifts. From the deep place, we've got the moon. Moon making some interesting energies as it's been moving through Libra, bringing us important lessons. And it says, where in your life do you need gentle luminosity, magnetic power, steady cycles, and abiding balance? There's the balance theme again. And how Are these qualities alive in you? Some questions. How can you deepen your relationship with your inner lunar qualities? What in your life is calling for solar intensity? And what is calling for lunar gentleness? That's interesting. What might it look like to embody the moon's magnetic power and cyclical rhythm? Some affirmations. I trust the process of my creative unfolding. I am magnetic magic. Love that. I shine in the shadows. And some practices. Make a habit of looking at the moon in all of its phases. Notice its presence and power, no matter what phase, and feel your own presence and power when you do. Explore a practice of tracking and pay attention to your own rhythms and cycles. When are you most creative? When do you have the most energy? How hard can you push before you need a break? And what might it mean to work with rather than go against your own organic rhythms? Love that. All right, so I'm going to leave that there for today. Be prepared for these Friday energies because, like I said, they're bubbling up. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. And the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and may your guiding light be strong. And know that you can trust your process. Namaste.